Well, hey there, everyone. Happy Thursday. Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. King 5 Meteorologist Adam Claibon here to go over that system that's heading in and also the incoming cold air mass that's going to be around for a good chunk, at least of the earlier half of next week and to end off this weekend. So we're going to go into that, talk about some stronger winds, and also have a look at some of the rain that's going to be moving on through and how that could lead to maybe a few snowflakes here across some of the lowlands as we head on into our weekend. First, what's happening out there right now? Well, not a whole lot changing from what we had yesterday. A lot of cloudy skies, some patchy areas of mist, and maybe a few areas of drizzle out there too to go along with that. But otherwise, just another gloomy day here across Tacoma right now in Seattle. And as we look out there closer to Olympia and also for the coast, as we are seeing skies that are really cloudy. Now, not a lot of rain falling from these clouds as of yet, but we are expecting that to start to pick up later on into the night. One more stop here into Bellingham as we look at the cloudy skies that are there. And actually, let's make a few more stops. We'll go to SeaTac Airport and then across the mountains. So cloudy skies for a lot of our locations here this afternoon. That includes the mountains where we do expect to see not a big snow event, but we'll get some fresh powder up across Snoqualmie Pass and Stevens Pass and also White Pass, where at least a half a foot is expected. And this go around, it looks like it's going to be more of that powdery, very light snow as temperatures are going to be quite a bit cooler. Now, our latest drought monitor just released today. Wanted to give you an update on that, as that is now showing parts of California that were under that severe drought. A few more of those areas have now seen that disappear. More moderate drought in those spots, while areas here across Washington state still seeing some abnormally dry soil in a few spots, but that is decreasing here as we go week by week. Now, visibilities, they have been a little lower out there along the north coast, so if you're out there later on this afternoon or into the evening, I expect to see some patchy areas of fog. But the rain, again, going to hold off here for the first half of the evening if you have any plans. Not really until we get closer to 10, 11 p.m. tonight is when we see those first showers beginning to arrive, and we'll see those on into the night and into the earlier half of Friday. So let's talk temperatures, because that will be the main focus with this system that's going to be arriving this weekend, as that's going to draw down some of that really cold air from the north. Now, for the time being, the core of it, and a lot of it is going to head east of the Rockies, and you can see over Minneapolis, 16 degrees. Brr, it's cold over there that way. Now, we see more low 40s over here, still cooler than average, but only slightly. Numbers closer to western Washington, you can see a lot of low to mid 40s here as we go about 1 to 145 into your Thursday afternoon. That colder air, it's going to be around, but it doesn't really hit until late Saturday heading into Sunday. So you can see Friday, still going to be closer to average, slightly cooler. Some of those showers around early into the morning. We could see a few sun breaks by the afternoon. Saturday, it's going to be the day, though, with that system arriving. That will be the transition day as we go from more of the mid-40s. I think temperatures dropping into the low 40s by later that evening, maybe even the 30s in a few spots. Winds will start to pick up across the San Juan Islands, up across parts of Skagit and Whatcom counties as well. And we could start to notice a few snowflakes mixing in with some of those raindrops. Little if any accumulation expected here in the lowlands, but again, we'll talk about what's in store for the mountains before we head into the day Sunday. High pressure taking over, but it's a cold area of high pressure, and we're talking about highs dropping down in the 30s. So let's see what the setup is. Right now, you can see, looking at the radar imagery, not seeing a whole lot happening here. Now, satellite view can show you that there are a few clouds that are streaming in from west to east as that area of high pressure begins to scoot its way back off towards the west just a bit more. And that will be heading more so into this direction. So as that departs, we're going to get more clouds that come in from the north, and that will help to bring in eventually some deeper moisture and some rain. Now, as far as the winds, we'll go over those first. You can see later on this evening, starting to see those pick up through the Strait of Juan de Fuca, up across the San Juan Islands, Camano, Whidbey Island too, even going a little farther south around Mason County, seeing some gusts closer to about 30, maybe 35 miles per hour. Now, through the strait, that's where we expect to see some of the stronger winds with this system coming through tonight, and that's where we could see some gusts closer to 40, 45 miles per hour. We'll see if National Weather Service sees fit to maybe issue any sort of advisories because of that, but as of right now, we're not worried about any of that. But keep an eye out for some very, very weak limbs to come down, and maybe some spotty power outages to go along with that. Now, we'll go on into the morning hours of Friday. We'll start to see those winds come back down, and I think for a good chunk of Friday, we're not worrying too much about the winds, as we'll get a break from that. Then by Friday evening, 7 p.m., you'll start to notice some of those winds picking up a little more, around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Then we get into Saturday morning. That system coming in from the northeast will start to bring in some of those stronger winds, and that's where you can start to notice by later Saturday morning, heading into Saturday afternoon, those winds really starting to howl out of Bellingham, coming through Friday Harbor, down around Oak Harbor. Gusts 40 to 45, could even get closer to 50 at times, and that will help to usher in the colder air all across western Washington. Now, speaking of the rain and the snow, here we are tonight. About 8 to 9 o'clock, seeing some of those showers up near Whatcom, Skagit County, the north coast of the Olympic Peninsula initially. Then they start to come through after 10 to 11 p.m. We start to see that fill in, but we will have a rip-off zone. It looks like it's going to be rain shadowed right here across parts of the Kitsap Peninsula, and I would say more parts of South Sound too, where we don't really see a whole lot of rain, as that rain shadow from the Olympics keeps those rain amounts on a lower end. Now we'll go on to Friday morning, 9 to 10 o'clock. Start to notice things quieting down there. Maybe a few sun breaks you can see by the afternoon. Then we go later on into Saturday, and this is when we see this Arctic front starting to push through, and that's what's going to help to again initiate some areas of rain as we go into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and you can tell that a lot of the lowlands still just dealing with generally just rain, but there is going to be some colder air that mixes in, so at times we could see some of that snow mix with the showers, and we could even just see a brief period of snow, but again, little if any accumulation expected for the lowlands here closer to sea level, and we clear out as we go late Saturday night into early Sunday, 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning there. So there are the amounts you can see of rain that we're expecting through Saturday morning. Little if anything over Shelton, Bremerton, Tacoma, Olympia, as we get the rain shadow to really block some of the rainfall amounts that we'll have there. We'll get up a little higher around Seattle, around 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch. Oak Harbor getting closer to 2/3 of an inch there, but not a big rain producer with this either, as we're expecting generally around 1/10 to maybe 1/2 an inch. Then you can see the snow amounts as we head into Saturday morning as well, expecting that to be generally around 1/2 foot. Now, could see a few areas get a bit higher, but this is only Saturday morning. We still have a little more to come as we head into Saturday evening and Saturday night with that push of the Arctic front coming through, which will help to also produce a bit more snow. So I think by the time we're all said and done, we're looking at about 1 foot, maybe 1.5 foot of that fresh snow. That again, the consistency will be more that light and fluffy stuff as opposed to the wet and sticky stuff. Now, high pressure as it scoots off towards the north and to the west, that'll give way to this colder air mass, and this is what we're expecting for a few days. So as we go on into not only just Sunday, but Monday, Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, we got that pattern with the colder air kind of locked in, as the airflow will be coming in from the north, out of British Columbia, as opposed to off of the water, where generally things are a bit milder. That water or the air mass is able to modify as it comes off of the Pacific Ocean from this direction. But since it is going to be coming in more from this direction out of the north, expected to remain cold and expected to remain cold for quite some time as we head on into next week. Speaking of that, here a look at your high temperatures. By Saturday, we're at 44, but again, that number will be dropping throughout the day, and Sunday and Monday are expected to be your coldest days, with highs just barely getting back into the 40s by next Tuesday. Average high at 49 degrees. We're going to be off of that, and be prepared for some really cold mornings. If you have a car that's not protected by a carport or a garage, you're probably going to have to get out there, warm up the car, maybe defrost it, or just use the ice scraper so that you'll be able to drive your way to work. Cloudy skies here for the rest of today. Highs in the mid to upper 40s. We'll top off at about 46 in Redmond. Everett up to 44 degrees. Bremerton hitting 45, and South Sound expect to see more mid 40s for highs. Enumclaw, Federal Way, Gig Harbor, and in Yelm. Here's your 7-day forecast. We're expecting to see those chances of rain on into tonight and into tomorrow morning. We'll top off in the mid 40s for Saturday. Showers expected to be generally just rain, maybe a few patchy areas of snow mixing in at times later on that evening. And then, yeah, next week is expected to be much drier and sunnier, but it's going to be also much colder at the same time. So if you've had that heavier coat kind of stowed away in the back of your closet, make sure to grab it back out again, because you're going to need it here coming up soon. Well, everyone, take care. Hopefully you guys have been having a great day. Have a tremendous Thursday, and we'll talk to you soon.